sweethearts. We're going to talk about a classic Doctor Who episode. But in a shocking twist, I'm alone this time. Yeah, there's no Rainiac and Kuchiri. There isn't even a Blaze Fury. No, it's just me. We're going to talk about the classic Doctor Who episode, The Web of Fear, a 1968 story starring Patrick Troughton as the second Doctor. Now, this episode's interesting for a variety of reasons, and you may have heard of it recently, because it was recently found, you see. Something you gotta know about classic Doctor Who is a lot of the old episodes, the old black and white ones, are completely missing, wiped from the archives, lost to time. Sometimes they turn up, sometimes they don't. For more info on this, since I'm not really going to get into it, there's an excellent little two-part video series on sci-fi debris, Wiped, Junked, but Not Forgotten, that explains why these episodes were erased and how people found them again. Now, it doesn't go in-depth on the recovery of the two missing serials 2 weeks ago, Enemy of the World and Web of Fear, but they did promise this website that they would do one for late November, right around the 50th anniversary, so keep an eye out. I'll link that Wiped, Junked, but Not Forgotten thing down below, so you can check it out after you're done listening to me blab about Doctor Who. So, point is, 2 missing serials found, 9 episodes found, the biggest find ever, I do believe, if I remember looking at the infographics correctly. That's pretty great, actually. All of Enemy of the World was found, and everything but episode 3 of Web of Fear is found. You can buy both of these on iTunes for $10 each, and they're highly recommended. Now, I do prefer Enemy of the World to Web of Fear by far. But I'm not going to talk about Enemy of the World because I really want to do that one with Rainiac, because I want him to watch it, because it's absolutely fantastic. And I'm going to tell you all that it's fantastic too, and you should get it. But we're going to talk about Web of Fear because it's kind of a spooky episode. And, well, it being Halloween season, you gotta watch a spooky thing, you know? Watch all your horror movies. Doctor Who is no stranger to spookiness, for God's sakes. This is the show that invented the whole trope of children watching from behind the sofa because they're absolutely terrified. I mean, you've got the Daleks, you've got the Cybermen, you've got the things in this story which probably made every youngster in Britain piss themselves. You've got the Hinchcliffe horror era of the mid-70s. You got the Weeping Angels. You got Blinking Midnight. God, Doctor Who is actually scary as shit when you think about it. But Web of Fear is pretty great. And it is definitely got an atmosphere to it. For those not in the know. And I really won't spoil all the episodes. I'll just talk about the general premise because I want you to go buy this episode because it's like, it's newish. I mean, as new as a recently recovered episode from 1968 can be. For God's sakes, we're talking about TV made before I was fucking born. But yeah, someone on Something Awful made a crazy point that really resonated with me. The last time anyone watched these episodes in full, man had yet to walk on the moon. Yeah. Damn. Where? Atmosphere. So, the Web of Fear has the Great Intelligence in it. Now, that's something you might recognize from Doctor Who Series 7, and it really makes me wonder if the existence of Web of Fear as a recovered episode was known to Stephen Moffat beforehand. Did he know when he plotted out this shit with the Snowmen and Clara Oswald and the Great Intelligence and all that nonsense? I really have to fucking wonder here. But yeah, the Great Intelligence in the 60s, he didn't really rely on snowmen or whispermen or Richard E. Grant for that matter, no. Well, I use a he because it's more of a formless it in space. He relied on robotic Yeti, giant furry robot monsters that shambled forward and roared. And apparently the roars were made by distorting the sound of a toilet flushing. I heard that somewhere. I think it was a Doctor Who documentary special or something. But the Robot Yeti had previously showed up in the story from this season, Season 5, called The Abominable Snowmen, where they were in Tibet and they were laying siege to a monastery. And one of the monks was possessed by the Great Intelligence. Most of that story's missing. I've read the book. It's okay, I guess. But this story is more of a sequel to The ever lovely Phil Sandifer points out, to watch it, it really assumes that you're comfortable with the idea of giant robotic Yeti. I mean, he points out that at least in Tibet, in the Himalayas, Yeti actually belong there. But this story is actually set in the London Underground, in the tunnels, the subways, what have you, the tube system. And the whole place is blocked off by a web, like scary fungus they call it. It's like spooky web, and you can't blow it up, and if you touch it, you die. It's weird. And the Yeti have like these guns that shoot the web at people, and it sprays a mist, and then you cut to the guy who's got web on his face, and he goes, "Argh!" and then he falls down dead. It's weird, but it's kind of spooky. That's the atmosphere. Every episode ends with the end credits rolling over, woo, the Doctor Who theme, and then you hear a whooshing sound, and there's the web pulsating, and the gas make it look like human mouths screaming. It's creepy. The story definitely has an atmosphere. I mean, it's dark, dank tunnels and lumbering things. It's definitely kind of spooky. I mean, it's not gonna scare the pants off of you like Blinker Midnight did. I mean, it's 1968 and all, and these are still just guys in big suits. But damn, I can understand why this story was hyped up. Because, well, everyone saw it as a kid in England, and they were like, "Whoa, that was really scary. Oh my god. Angus, did you see that Yeti episode? It was really quite frightening. I almost pissed myself." I don't even know what kind of accent I'm trying to pull off there, but God. I'm getting a little rambly, but the point is, this story really has a great atmosphere, even though it has Robot Yeti, which was one of the silliest things. Then again, I mean, Troughton's era had, like, the fish people of Atlantis, and the quarks, and, oh god knows, the Crotons. Weird shit. It was the 60s. You just had to turn your brain off and accept that this show didn't have a budget, and they're believing in your bubble wrap. Yeah. It's a really good story, though. It's got great moments. There's a particular scene in episode 4 where the soldiers... Oh, I forgot to talk about the soldiers. But I'll get to them after I talk about this. They go on up above ground, and they're trying to do a thing, and the Yeti are attacking them. It's an excellently plotted sequence where they're just shooting at these robot Yetis and throwing grenades, and they're knocking some of them down with the grenades, but more just keep coming. It's an endless stream of Yetis, and it's a really great sequence. Oh my god. It is incredible. Oh, and the Doctor. He's got a bit of master planning going on. He knows what the hell he's doing. Trust me, he knows even more than his companions allow. Not to really spoil what's going on there, but he knows what's on the go. And then there's another thing. This story does introduce a character. One of the soldiers is a Colonel Lethbridge Stewart. Now, anyone who knows the classic series will know that he later shows up in another second Doctor serial, and he's promoted to a brigadier. And then he shows up for pretty much all of the third Doctor's run as the head of unit, and he pops up now and again with every other Doctor except Colin Baker, unless you're counting Dimensions in Time, which, why the hell would you? Because holy shit, Dimensions in fucking Time. Oh my god, I really got on the tangent there. Huh. But yeah, point is, it does introduce one of the longest running Doctor Who characters ever. So it's neat from that standpoint. He's pretty good in this one. He's faced with the crisis, and he basically is just like, well, tries to do whatever he can to stop the Yeti, and he's very open-minded, Colonel Lethbridge Stewart, which is good. Got some other weird characters, professors, a news reporter guy who I don't really like. My favorite character is probably the chicken shit Welsh soldier, who's like constantly running away and like, I'm just the driver. I can't do a Welsh accent to save my fucking... I'm from fucking Newfoundland, for God's sakes. What do you expect? He's basically a wuss, and he tries to get away at every opportunity. He's like, fucking fighting the Yeti. I'm just trying to find my goddamn way out. I don't know, he endeared me. He really did. He's a great character. I liked him a lot. But that's the Web of Fear. That's about all I have to say about it. It's a really good story, as I said. Not quite up to the level of Enemy of the World, though I do recommend you watch Enemy of the World first if you're going to do this, because, you see, the thing about Enemy of the World is that it sort of ends abruptly with spoilers. I'm not going to spoil it, but it ends abruptly there, and then the end credits roll. And then Web of Fear Episode 1 picks up where that left off, because, again, this is a weekly show. It's not like a big thing where you package it together as movies, so Enemy of the World Episode 6 leads right next week into Web of Fear Episode 1, and the first few minutes of Web of Fear Episode 1 are a wrap-up of Enemy of the World Episode 6, with, like, the aftermath of what the hell happened at the end of that episode. So, point is, long-winded as it may be, if you go into Web of Fear without seeing Enemy of the World, you're pretty much going to know what happened to the villain of Enemy of the World. So, be wary of that. Buy both on iTunes. I did. They're both on iTunes. $10 for 6 episodes of each one. Though, as Episode 3 of Web of Fear doesn't exist, it's a reconstruction on iTunes. Not the best reconstruction. If we're going for reconstructions, I prefer the loose cannon stuff, but, I mean, if you really want, you could look up Web of Fear Episode 3's reconstruction online, but and get the loose cannon one, I suppose. But I don't know what you want to do. Again, buy these episodes. Buy them. Support Doctor Who. This is one of the few times I say, yeah, support, because these are fresh. You shouldn't be going out and pirating them, even though they've been out for like 45 years. But they're new. They're fresh. Go get them. My gosh. Well, that was a solo review of Doctor Who, The Web of Fear. It went okay. It's a little shortish compared to the back and forth I usually have with my guests, but I kind of like it that way, don't you? Please let me know. I may do more of these, because I really do like to talk about Doctor Who. In case you didn't know, I really love this show, for Christ's sakes. I think we can end with the best note. Danny the Dalek, signing off.
You are an enemy of the Daleks. You must be destroyed.
Couldn't have said it better myself.